Hey everybody, we're back with Byforce. Timothy here on Mana Rocks. Thanks for joining me today. This is episode 5. I believe we're down to our last two videos for Byforce. We have Azorius left as our last guild and also the Gates deck, which is the one I'm most excited to draft. You've noticed a lot of these Byforce videos, I end up drafting Gate Colossus, and hopefully, if we draft Gates, we can pick up the Colossus and really go ham on it rather than having it as like a side feature of the deck, make it the main feature. That's what I'm most excited for. But we've also got Azorius left, which is the one I have the least amount of skill playing. I just don't end up in Azorius a lot. With that being said, before we go ahead and spin our wheel and figure out which of these last two archetypes we're going to draft, make sure you subscribe below. Feel free to leave a comment and find us on Twitter at MTG_Mana Rocks. All right, formalities out of the way. Let's go ahead and spin our high-tech wheel here. You can tell, really put a lot of effort into this wheel. Looks like Azorius it is, so we're going to save Gates for last, which is appropriate. Azorius, blue-white. Let's go ahead and jump in. Remember, the rules for Byforce, I'm going to force this guild to the best of my ability, right? If I have the ability to splash if I find it necessary, I reserve the right to do that. I'm not going to go full on Azorius if there's no way to make it work. I think the card I'm most looking for here is High Alert. I think High Alert decks are some of the best decks you can have in this format, so that's what I'm hoping for. But a deck with a bunch of Night Arbiters and Flyers will do the trick too. So hopefully we just open an on-color rare. I don't think that's really happened for this series of Byforce. I can't remember all of my drafts altogether, but I don't think we've opened on-color rares for a lot of our drafts. I remember when we did Selesnya for Guilds of Ravnica, we had like Amara, maybe some other rare. Unfortunately, kind of a bust of a rare here in general. Smother and Tithe is hardly a card. I have seen this played a couple times and it doesn't really do anything. Not really a strong Azorius card, not really a strong card to start off with. Anyway, I think the best cards in the pack are Aeromunculus and Pteramander. I think I am going to take Pteramander. Azorius often has a lot of instants and sorceries. I think Pteramander is just better than Pegasus overall. Prowling Caracal is pretty bad. Humongulus is also pretty bad. Skittereel might be better than Pteramander more often, but when Pteramander is good, it's really good. So we'll start off with a Pteramander. Alright, Wild Mage's Binding and Chillbringer. That's actually kind of a tough pick. Chillbringer is really, really good. Is it the best blue common in this set? Probably. Unfortunately, nothing much for us in the way of the rare uncommons in this pack, but I think since we're forcing Azorius, I want to make sure I have the control game locked up, and I think that means taking a Wild Mage's Binding. Here we go. Here we go. So we do have a on-color rare here, but it's basically just a bear. That's the High Alert, though. Third pick, we can draft around this and start taking our Concordia Pegasuses and our Senate Couriers. High Alert is exactly the card I want when I'm drafting Azorius. So let's see if we can make it work. Now, I think the right way to draft a High Alert deck is to just take good cards. Don't go super high on it. Like, you don't need Junk Troller and stuff like that. The cards that are just bad without High Alert. But, Caracal is not a card we want in this deck. We're between Skittereel and Quench for this pick. I guess Simic Guildgate also a possibility. Quench is pretty good with Pteramander. Skittereel is just a slightly above average filler creature. I don't think you're often looking for Skittereel outside of Simic, but it will do the trick. I do think I'm going to take the first Quench here, even though I don't think Quench is amazing. Two possible pick here, Arrester's Admonition and Fairy Duelist. Both cards I like quite a bit. Again, Pteramander looking pretty good here with the Arrester's Admonition. Fairy Duelist. Yes, Fairy Duelist gets upgraded by High Alert, but not so much significantly that we need to, super prioritize this card. I do think Duelist is good, though, but I am going to take my first Admonition here. Alright, lots of good picks for us. If I were drafting in real life, I would kind of bank on wheeling the Pegasus or the Courier. I'm hoping some of the Pegasus come back around out of the first couple packs. This is the third one we've seen. I do think I'm going to take Sentinel's Mark, though, because this card has been super impressive. Okay, Orzhov Guildgate, Bring to Trial, Essence Capture, or Justicier's Portal. I've yet to see a deck where Portal is really that good, so I'm going to take Essence Capture here. We want to play the control game for sure. Final payment would be nice if we'd already taken some of the Orzhov Guildgates. Wow, Blade Juggler too, pretty late. This is either Pegasus or Forbidding Spirit. I think Forbidding Spirit is a better card than Pegasus. Pegasus gets better with High Alert, but maybe I'm supposed to just take the Spirit here and wheel some of these Pegasuses. Pegases? Like here, I'll definitely take Pegasus over either of the other white cards in the pack. Alright, Syndicate Messenger, just fine for this deck. Another Pegasus. Alright, I'm glad I didn't use too many picks on Pegases or whatever, since I'm wheeling some of them. I'll take Expose for the sideboard now. And we've got a decent start to a control game here. We've got a little bit of removal in Arrester's Admonition and Wall Mage's Binding. We've got a game plan in High Alert and a couple flyers as well. A couple counter spells. Nice as well. So I think this is a pretty good start. Following that up, what do we have here? Again, no super busted card or anything like that. Azorius doesn't actually have a lot of bombs. I think Azorius' best rare is Deputy of Detention, and that's not what I would consider a bomb, right? There's Ministrant of Obligation, which is a nice way to slow the game down. I don't really like Bring to Trial. I like having one in the sideboard, but I normally don't mean a Bring to Trial. There's an Orzhov Guildgate and a Skitter Eel. I think I'm just going to take a Ministrant. This trades off pretty positively. Nice. Wow, this pack has a lot of good stuff. I like all three of these uncommons. I'm probably going to take Gateway Sneak here, although I don't have any gates at the moment. You do not need gates for Gateway Sneak to be really good. There's also Arrester's Admonition and Fairy Duelist. Hopefully one of those comes back, but I'm going to take the Sneaky Boy. Okay, Depose, Deploy. I don't really like Sage's Rosamont, and it does actually get worse when you have High Alert. There's also Summary Judgment here, so it's definitely between these two. Humongulous is fine with High Alert, but not insane. You just want the flyers, really, not the ground creatures. Depose, Deploy, or Summary Judgment. I think I'm just going to take Deploy here. There's a Gates Ablaze. We have not really seen Azorius Guildgates in spots where we would take them. I'm not really interested in playing a Locket. So I think I'm going to take a final payment in the off chance that we end up with a bunch of Orzhov Guildgates. Alright, Archway Angel is fine here. But having no gates already, I don't think I'm going to take that over just Summary Judgment. And follow up with... Do need some more ways to finish the game here. No Azorius Night Arbiters coming around. Wall of Lost Thoughts is pretty bad on its own, so I'm not really looking to play that to combo with High Alert. I think I'm just going to take Code of Constraint. I would love, what is that card called? Dovin's Acuity. Rally to Battle is sweet with High Alert, but not really insane. Could try this Clear the Mind thing, right? If you have enough removal counter spells and you use Clear the Mind, you start looping them. People tell me that's a deck. I haven't actually seen it in action yet, but it seems fine. Maybe this is the place to do it. Scream and Shield could be a potential win con as well. Mill the opponent out. Makes me wish I had those whatchamacallits. Ill-Gotten Inheritance could also be a consideration here, but I'm going to pick up our first Guildgate. Alright. Well, there's another Arrester's Admonition or the second Clear the Mind. You kind of want two Clear the Minds if you play one at all. I'm going to take Admonition over it. Followed by, I guess, Humongulous here, just to have some number of threats. Bunch of bad red cards. Wall of Lost Thoughts, Wall of Lost Thoughts. Okay, well, we've got the mill backup plan right there. Benthic Biomancer. This card's not really that great, but there are some good picks for us here. So, I'm not going to take Consume, but it would definitely be a consideration. There's Slimebind, Azorius Night Arbiter, and Wall Mage's Binding. I think I'm actually going to take Arbiter here. Arbiter is one of those cards that's just good on its own, but it gets significantly improved with High Alert. Sometimes you play High Alert and then Night Arbiter, and your opponent's just dead. There's like nothing they can do about it. Wall Mage's Binding I wouldn't mind, but I'm going to start picking up my Night Arbiters when I can. Follow up with another Night Arbiter. There's Sky Tether here, ironically really bad against us. Shimmer is fine as a way to kind of dig for your High Alert or dig for your key bullet cards. Also decent with Terramander, but I think it's just another Arbiter here. There's that Colossus. I don't think this is the deck where we want Colossus. That being said, there's not really much of a pick for us here. We have one guild gate currently. Watchful Giant really doesn't get that much improved by High Alert. It becomes like what you would expect out of a vanilla, virtually unplayable green creature. Prying Eyes is a consideration. I think I can wheel a Prying Eyes, though. I am going to take Colossus. If we pick up like maybe 1 or 2 more guild gates here, then I'll take it. However, I think I'm supposed to just take Sphinx's Insight. Sphinx's Insight is great. Fairy Duelist. We haven't actually picked up any Duelists yet. Dovin's Acuity? Can I get a late Dovin's Acuity? Ooh, what are the chances I can wheel this Clear the Mind? Probably pretty high, right? This pack's got a lot of good ones. Goblin, Consign, Ill-Gotten Inheritance, Gravelhide, Rampage, and Renhorn in the Guild Gate. I think I'm going to wheel that. Clear the Mind. Alright, another Guild Gate's quite nice over the second Quench. 2 Guild Gates randomly. Could take a third one. Yeah, actually, this makes the Gate Colossus Dream a little bit live, and also helps our sneak, our gateway sneak. Yeah, this seems quite nice. I don't like Persistent Petitioner here. I really think I'm going to wield a second Clear to Mind, if I even want to play that. I'm going to take a Fairy Duelist now. Alright, Slimebind or Azorius Gateway, or Guild Gate. Slimebind. I've got a lot of removal. I don't think I necessarily need Slimebind, so I am going to take Guild Gate. And another Syndicate Messenger, or probably just Sky Tether. Try and keep ourselves alive. There's a Prying Eyes. Ooh, Duelist on the Wheel is nice. Clear the Mind did not wheel out of that pack, though. And shaboom. So we didn't get the second Clear to Mind, but I'm probably not going to play that in the first place. Maybe I'm supposed to. I don't know. I don't have a Dovin's Acuity to really take advantage of it. It seems like a pretty easy cut to start off with. Alright, I think this deck ended up pretty decent. I can cut Scream and Shield here until I know what kind of deck my opponent's playing. If they're playing Rakdos, I really just don't want Scream and Shield to be my game plan. I think along those lines, I'm going to cut maybe the walls as well. I know the walls get better with High Alert, but they're so dorky on their own. They're just bad against, like, Beat Down Gruul or something along those lines. We did not see a Psychic, Thought Collapse? Psychic Corrosion? I don't know. Thought Collapse. I do not believe we saw one that whole draft. Gotta make a good number of cuts here as well. I think Humongulus is definitely out. Prying Eyes I could see going. We have Sphinx's Insight. We've got 3 Arrester's Admonitions. We've got Depose. We've definitely got ways to draw cards here. So I don't think I need that. We ended up with 4 Guild Gates, so I like the Colossus. And 2 more out. I could see, ooh, the Vault. We open the Vault. Tough at this point what to cut. I think our deck's going to end up pretty good here. Code of Constraint's always been kind of a weird card for me. I'm not 100% sure what I would cut here. What would you guys cut as the last 2 cards? I like just having Sky Tether and these early game interactive spells to kind of deal with the early game, and then using like our Admonitions plus counter spells to deal with the late game. Could see 1 Admonition going away here, though. And then we need to make 1 more cut. I don't think it's any of these. It's definitely not Law Mage's Binding. I don't think it's High Alert either. High Alert seems decent in our deck. We didn't get a Senate Courier. Might be Code of Constraint. Code of Constraint's always been kind of just a weird card. Or it could just be a Pegasus. Not lean too highly on the High Alert. Alright, I think I'm going to cut this Code of Constraint for now. That might be wrong. Code of Constraint also might just be better than Arrester's Admonition, but I'm not 100% sure. Alright, I think this is going to be our deck. I'm not 100% sure about the cuts, what we did and didn't cut, but I think that's what we're going to roll with. And I think our deck ended up as a nice little control deck. Not splashing anything either, so should be pretty consistent on the mana. We've got card draw, removal, and a couple threats. Kind of everything you're looking for. So let's see if Azorius can live up to the hype here. So far, I think only 1 guild has made it all the way to 5 wins. Is that right? I think it was Gruul, right? Gruul made it to 5 wins. Let's see if Azorius can do it. Again, the archetype that I have the least amount of practice playing, just because I don't end up with it a lot, but hey, that's why we're forcing it. Anyway, again, thanks for watching Byforce. This is Timothy with Mana Rocks, and I'll see you in the matches. Alright, we're here for round 1 of Bifrost with Azorius. We've got kind of a mana-light hand, but we can cast majority of our spells on the mana that we have. The problem, of course, is that we have a lot of expensive cards in our deck, so this hand doesn't look amazing. We do get to go Terramander into Pegasus, though. And then maybe hold up Duelist, draw another land for Admonition. The Admonition's pretty good at helping us find additional land drops. And we've got the Summary Judgment for early creatures, maybe even the Duelist. My opponent plays like a 2-1 or something like that. Duelist is pretty good against them. Now let's see if they're Rakdos or if they are Gruul. Alright, Terramander getting in there. Looks like they're going to use maybe Carnival. Alright, well that's pretty nice of them to have the answer. I don't mind that though. I would actually rather them deal with a 1-1 than deal with 2 cards from my hand with the second half of that Carnage. I guess one deck I really don't want to play against here is an Ill-Gotten Inheritance deck. Alright, Depose, we're probably going to have to run that out as a Cycler, which we could do now to try and hit a Guildgate. I think I am going to get a little greedy here, because Deploy will be good against Rakdos. No play from the opponent. Alright, second main land. Opponent being nonsensical for the sake of doing it, I guess. Depose. Yeah, we're going to cycle this Depose. Okay, drew another 5-drop. Well, this is how you lose with hands like this, is you draw no lands. But that's fine. I guess try to leverage our Fairy Duelist here. And hope my opponent doesn't have like Rakdos Firewheeler. If I block this, I take 2, right? Yeah. If I double block, I take 2, and then I do get kind of ousted by even Sure Strike, or not Sure Strike, but Storm Strike. They can kill the Duelist. Looks like they've got it too, or they've got something. Bladebrand, okay. Bladebrand's not the worst. It does trade for only one of my creatures. I do need to draw lands to even be in consideration for this game. I assume my opponent's going to have a lot of 2-drops and stuff they can play. Skewer me. Okay, that does not seem correct. Unfortunately, we've got nothing going on. Drawn 5 cards, none of them have been lands yet. Not sure why the opponent skewered us there. Just straight up Lava Spike. Maybe they're pretty confident with their hand. They've got really high value creatures or something like that. Feel pretty good if we just draw some lands here. Even that doesn't seem like that big of a deal. It's going to be, because we've got nothing. Also in Rakdos, they're not likely to hit something too strong. But there's not much I can do here. I think I'm going to attack with 1 creature and just take whatever I get hit by with Amplifier. Hopefully it's something that Summary Judgment can deal with the turn after. I think at this point I'm losing pretty heavily to Mana Screw, but my opponent hasn't applied that much pressure. Summary Judgment will kill this Amplifier if it attacks. The opponent's on 2 cards in hand. Alright, let's go ahead and do this first, see if this works. Not too much they can use to actually save their Amplifier here. And then I'll block, and if they have a trick, they have a trick. If they want to use a trick to try and kill Pegasus, that's cool. Another Roustabout, sure. Alright, we drew another land. Would have preferred for it to be a Plains, but hey, you can't have everything. So are we Arrester's Admonitioning here? Wallmage's Binding's not great against this thing. I do think I'm just going to go ahead and Admonition. Keep both my creatures back for the double block on this Fireblade Artist. Of course. Of course, with the Gate Colossus. Alright, again, if my opponent wants to use tricks here, I want to get him out of the hand. Once I play these 2-5s, my opponent's going to have a tough time getting through them. Looks like we've got a trick coming out of the opponent's hand here. Oh, they do have the Storm Strike. Alright, so trade in Storm Strike for Pegasus. Pretty good. And they get to replay Roustabout. Plains would be great here. Forbidden Spirit blanks the 2-2. Alright, guess we can't have anything, huh? So, guess we just use Lawmage's Binding on Roustabout. They do get a free sack with the Fireblade Artist, but I think that's fine. This is kind of obnoxious. I'm 16 cards into my deck with 3 lands, and I think my hand is extremely well positioned against my opponent's deck here. I do not want to lose this match to just not drawing lands. Opponent keeps it coming with the spells here. Oh, Dead Revel's gross. Amplifier plus Roustabout. Oh, we gonna lose to this nonsense? It looks like we are. Look at this. 17 cards in with 3 lands. Ugh. Alright, you got it, opponent. Go ahead. I assume they're going to go ahead and sack Roustabout here. Alright, Amplifier plus Fireblade. Go to 11. They revealed a 1-1, so Amplifier is now a 2-2. Meanwhile, my opponent's drawn the perfect amount of mana to go double spells and pressure us. Alright, I think I go Duelist, Shrink, Fireblade Artist, and then double block Amplifier here and just hope my opponent's not on infinite combat tricks. I would like to get Amplifier dead before my opponent has a chance to grow it too big. Dang, they have another combat trick. Alright, my opponent has drawn ridiculously well. Look what happens if we just play a 2-5. Alright, we have no board. We drew the land. Might be too late here. This is frustrating to say the least. Let's see what Amplifier becomes here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then they kill us with Fireblade Artist. Alright, well, I'm a little frustrated by this match and just screwed by the Shuffler. Not the Shuffler in general, but Mana Screw. I think our hand just crushes our opponent's hand there. The walls look a little bit appealing here. The code's also pretty nice against their removal. Humongous is good in this matchup. I'm going to take out Gate Colossus here. And I don't think I want anything else. Maybe another Arrester's Admonition? I just think I crush my opponent there if I draw my land, so I'm not sure. I think my deck is just really good against their deck. There is some argument for taking out Terramander with them having, whatchamacallit, Carnival. Quench, Essence Capture. Could take out High Alert here. Alright. I'm taking out kind of the cards that don't individually do anything or are going to require a really long game to go well. And I'm bringing in the cards that I know are just going to be really good. Like Humongous, I stick that and my opponent just can't deal with it, aside from Blade Brand or something like that. Can we draw some lands? Hey, look. Well, this hand's pretty good. Doesn't have any actual pressure this time, but this hand is good. I'm going to lead with the Guildgate, quench my opponent's second turn play, then Binding. Binding and Sky Tether aren't amazing against our opponent because they do have Flame Blade Artist, but I think they're going to be fine. So we've got a nice little set of plays here that we can play. See if our opponent has the turn 1 Footlight Fiend. They do not. Ooh, Ministrant's also good, although that does die to Scorchmark. Scorchmark's a little good against Ministrant, but not great against our deck in general. Now let's go ahead and just quench that. And I'll play Ministrant of Obligation. My opponent's like, nice. Everything you do, nice. It was nice. I mean, it was a quench, but... Alright, what's your 3-drop? Light up the stage. Alright, well, they can't play both of those next turn. They do have to have a land in hand to play even one of them. And I do not have a lot of pressure on my opponent, so that's the type of card that could get us. I don't want to go on my tirade about Ill-Gotten Inheritance, because I think the card is obnoxious. Sure. Can't bounce it. Alright, we're going to have to put some pressure on our opponent, and we do not have a lot of that to go around, so let's see if we can get in there. Humongulus should be good at stopping our opponent from basically blocking with anything. What a stupid card to have at common. They played another one. Alright, my opponent just has 3 in their deck. Am I going to die to just double inheritance? Probably. I'm going to run out Fairy Duelist as just a attacker here. God, this is obnoxious. My opponent has 3 of them. They drew 2 of them. I wonder if they boarded them in. We didn't see one at all in game 1. I just don't have enough pressure to put on my opponent for this sort of card. It more or less negates all the damage that my flyer is going to do. Alright, Blade Juggler is fine. Probably going to Arrester's Admonition that. It's not great. Actually, I can just Law Mage's Bind in it, right? Yeah. Let's get Duelist down just as an extra source of pressure. And then go ahead and Law Mage's Binding. Their Juggler. And we'll start attacking for 5, which is basically 3. Alright, we have Deploy now as well, which does gain us some life too. So we might be able to beat this Inheritance yet. Opponent has a lot of cards in hand though. But we're going to add 2 more flying power to the board. Easy sacrifice here if my opponent needs to. Another Blade Juggler, fine by me. Blade Juggler is kind of mitigating a little bit of the work that these Inheritances are going to do as well. Alright, let's go ahead and deploy. And I'm probably just going to Arrester's Admonition my opponent's Roustabout. Ooh, that's actually really good. Not really, really good, but pretty good. They might go for the double block on Humongulus. And then we get them, I think. I would rather have Roustabout in the graveyard, since Dead Revel's getting back Blade Juggler is not really where I want to be. Alright, Duelist. Go ahead and shrink either one. Doesn't matter. And I do think we're going to be able to win this one through this double inheritance. Just drawing the right number of spells this time, opposed to last game. Like, jeez. We do have a whatchamacallit in our deck too. The enchantment removal, Exposed to Daylight. I'm pretty sure we have one. My opponent has Dead Revels in hand. Vindictive Vampire, not bad. Do need to back it up. I'm gonna end of turn Arrester's Admonition this vampire. Go away. Thank you. I would guess Dead Revels just because they're highlighted in their graveyard. And let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, if I can go ahead and deal with both their threats, I can win on the following turn. They did not leave up the activation on Inheritance. Let's go ahead and bounce this vampire. Get that noise out of here. Admonition. Alright. I'm just going to attack. No point showing my opponent more cards. I do think I just win this game here. They have to block. Blade Brand, go ahead and bounce your guy in response, which isn't as good, but you don't get to cycle the card here. And if they hold up mana for Inheritance, they just die to our attackers. So they have to play spells from their hand. And I think we've got this one. They can go up to 7. That doesn't do it. I have 8 power on board. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, Blade Juggler makes it more likely that I kill them. Also means they're not going to use Inheritance. And I don't think red-black, maybe if they had Cry the Carnarium. Alright, that definitely doesn't do it. Opponent giving us the GG. We'll go to game 3. So bringing in Exposed to Daylight, probably. It's a little bit awkward. This is not a matchup for Prying Eyes. Again, I like our deck against our opponent, but God, Expose is just so poor of a card, like, in general. But my opponent uses their turn 4 to play an enchantment. We just blow that enchantment up. I think that's fine. The Pegasus. Pegasus is okay. Doesn't necessarily match up well against, like, Roustabout, but it matches up well against 2/2s. I think I'm going to take one out. Pegasus is just pretty poor against, like, multiple Blade Jugglers. Just 3/2s in general stack up well against the Pegasus. So, we'll try this out, bringing in the enchantment removal. See you in game 3. Well, this hand does have our answer to Expose, and it has a Rester's Admonition. It is very slow, though. Would like to draw something between now and turn 2. Oh, that's a Blood Crypt into a 1/1. Okay. Opponent's going to get that early Spectacle. I mean, if they go 2-drop then Blade Juggler, then I'm going to be so far behind that it's probably not going to matter much. See if they got the 2-drop here. They do. Of course they do. Of course they do. Okay, well, that's not quite a 2-drop. Code of Constraint should be good later on. I'm going to take a beat-in for now. Got fingers crossed no Blade Juggler, but I don't have any creatures to add to the board. Alright, I'm expecting a 3-drop. I'm hoping it's just a Roustabout, not a Blade Juggler. And of course, it's a Blade Juggler. I think I need a creature here, definitely. Okay, Depose Deploy is fine, but I'm going to have to use that as Deploy, I think. For now, I think I should just Code of Constraint. Keep my opponent off of this Blade Juggler without bouncing it. The -4/-0 would be nice, but let's just keep some damage off our back for now. Cycle to try to hit permanents. Don't need more lands at the moment. And then Deploy should play nicely against our opponent here. They just play Inheritance. I think I'm going to Expose to Daylight. Take 5. God. I can wait on dealing with that, I think. Deploy is still not even insane against that. This is an instant? Yeah, alright. And my opponent's curved out really nicely. They've played something every turn, and I missed my first 2 turns. If I was on the play, I wouldn't feel so bad about it. Alright, so if I cast Deploy, they probably make this stupid Tin Street Dodger unblockable, right? Alright, no, they're letting me go to blocks. So if I can kill both of these and make Footlight Fiend not ping one of my guys, it's going to be pretty good. Too late for them to activate that. Oh, they're going to save one of their creatures? I'm okay with them using combat tricks here. Nice. Trade and Deploy for 2 life. Let's see what else they can play here. Dead Revel's back here, 2 1-drops. Okay. Well, this is not going well. Alright, I think I just have to stick Knight Arbiter here. Then next turn I think I have to start getting this inheritance off board. I have answers to all of my opponent's cards here. 2 cards in hand from the opponent. Alright, we can do this. Alright, what does this attack with Blade Juggler mean that they're not attacking with something else? Blade Brand, they would just surely attack with Footlight Fiend, right? I don't think I can let Knight Arbiter die here. Carnage, okay. Put me down to 3. Discard land plus Quench. Alright, let's go ahead and attack. And I have to expose now, otherwise I die. Need my opponent to break a little bit. Scry 1. Yes, I will definitely draw that. And we're going to hold up Summary Judgment now. Maybe I play the Pegasus. No. God, Footlight Fiend 2 is going to put me so low. I'm just going to die to like some nonsense. Oh, let's put him on Scorchmark, actually. Yeah, Scorchmark makes sense. They trade the Blade Juggler and they kill our Arbiter. Let's block here. When I said oops, like they didn't make it unblockable. Block here, and then Summary Judgment, Blade Juggler, and take 1. Puts us really close to dying. I could block here. No, I think I need to get rid of Tin Street while I can. Okay. And we go down to 2. God, come on. Into a Blade Juggler? Okay. Alright, what are we doing now? Sphinx's Insight's a little risky. I think I'm supposed to play Pegasus and hold up Arrester's Admonition. I'm so far from killing the opponent too. Sphinx's Insight into land does keep me alive a little bit. I still think my opponent has Scorchmark though. Alright, I think I just hold up Admonition here. Maybe it's right to just Arrester's Admonition, bounce this. Draws him into another card though. I don't know. This is tough. I do think my opponent has Scorchmark. And then 2 unknowns. Okay, 1 unknown. And we can't guarantee they have Scorchmark. Alright, they're going to attack with the Juggler. I'm going to block. And then I'm probably going to end up Arrester's Admonition in my own Knight Arbiter here. Maybe I don't need to do that. Maybe I just hold my Admonition for right now. Or my, no, this seems important. I miss out on the card draw, but I get to replay my 2-5, which is very relevant. Okay, that was pretty good. I'm going to be a little risky this turn and just play the Arbiter. I'm hoping my opponent just doesn't have a way to deal 2 damage. Fireblade Artist, I guess, off the top. Alright, opponent is floating a little bit. Glad I played Arbiter there. I am going to play Sphinx's Insight this turn, just get myself out of range of this damage. Insight. Alright, not terrible. Stabilized a little bit. Alright, Amplifier could be good here. And opponent's out of cards. Ooh, that's not terrible. We can go Forbidden Spirit plus Ministrant. I like that plan. No, Amplifier doesn't get trample or anything. They're going to have plenty of mana to pay for this Forbidding Spirit. But we do have them dead in, what, 2 more turns? Roustabout. So that's going to be a giant amplifier. I'm going to block with Ministrant of Obligation here. Could double block, actually. Ooh, Footlight Fiend coming in. Opponent says no thank you. Alright, so let's get in there with these two. Put our opponent down to 4, and then play another Night Arbiter, and they have to kill us next turn. Alright, did we make a comeback here? Our opponent curved out quite nicely. This is a 6-2 once again. Trumpeter doesn't do it. Block and block. No point putting one of my lethal creatures in the way of a Blade Brand or anything like that. Nice. Wow, we made a comeback there. I didn't think we were going to do it. My opponent's deck seemed really good. Amplifier, not so good in Rakdos. More of a Gruul card, and I've never found Amplifier to be that good. We got a little bit bailed out by it being low toughness creature. But that advances us to 1-0 off the bat. Our deck played pretty nicely after getting mana screwed there, so... with that being said, I will see you all in match 2. Alright, match 2 is up. We are on the draw this time. I'm going to keep this hand. Again, a little bit slow, but Sky Tether to slow down early aggressive creatures. Quench to get an early drop from my opponent against another red deck. I think I actually want to be playing against red decks. Against Gruul and Rakdos in particular. Probably just Sky Tether that, right? So my opponent can't get a early Blade Juggler. That seems fair to me. And then next turn we can decide whether to Quench or Arrester's Admonition, whatever my opponent's 3-drop is. Ooh, no play. I wonder if they have a Blade Juggler and just couldn't cast it. That's happened to me a couple times. You play a 2-drop with the Blade Juggler in your hand and your opponent deals with the 2-drop. And then suddenly you're stuck with Blade Jugglers. Not that they get worse. Blade Juggler's still a good card later in the game. Alright, now I can sit here and just kind of play a defensive game. I can play my Syndicate Messenger, which I think I'm going to do. I could be running that into a Grotesque Demise. I think that's fine, though. Any removal besides Grotesque Demise is not going to be great against my Messenger. Looks like they have it. Yeah. You got it, opponent. You got it. I could have held up Deploy there as well. But I kind of like Deploy as maybe an answer. We might just see a hard cast Blade Juggler here. Carnage, okay. Don't care too much about that. I'm going to discard Sentinel's Mark for sure, and probably just my Plains. The Plains might be a bad idea. I like the Quench still, since my opponent seems to have expensive cards in their hands. Alright, let's get rid of the... No, let's just get rid of the Plains. Be a little bit greedy. One reason not to do that is we might just draw a 5-drop, but let's go and run out Terramander here and pass. Glad my opponent used Carnage there before I drew Terramander. 2 Rakdos decks back to back. Gibran. Ill-Gotten Inheritance. Wow, people, this format on Arena is just tilting, isn't it? My opponent just resolves one of those, and suddenly, like, I'm actually on a clock, and my opponent just sits there and does anything at all. I'm going to play out all lands for sure here. Not too far off from... Alright, sure, let's go ahead and deploy now. I wonder if I'm supposed to Arrester's Admonition my own Terramander, since it would be very close to bouncing. I think I'm going to do that. Since I have, what, 2 spells in the graveyard now. Terramander cost... Yeah, if I go Terramander into Deploy, I can actually adapt Terramander next turn. My opponent's down to 1 card, and they're going to have a lot of trouble dealing with a 5/5 flyer. So we will pass, cast Deploy on my opponent's end step, and then hopefully adapt Terramander. Enforcer is not great against my deck. I have a lot of flyers, and then my Night Arbiters are unblockable. All right, let's go ahead and deploy the Gatewatch, the Thopter Watch. And I'm sitting at 20 against my opponent here. Let's go ahead and adapt. And we're smashing for 7 now. I'm going to keep this land in hand in case my opponent wants to drill bit or something like that. Go and get him with a blank. Even if they draw another Carnage, it's not going to be that good. If they deal with Terramander, then my opponent's right back in the game. But if they don't deal with Terramander, they're on a 2-turn clock. Cycle in Blade Brand, sure. Doesn't matter too much here, but if you are going to cycle Blade Brand, you usually use it on your opponent's best creature. That way they can't blow you out. Again, I don't think it matters here at all. Do I show my opponent Colossus? Yeah, I'm just going to play Colossus. Might get my opponent to concede right on the spot. I don't die to an act of treason or anything. And this way, if they do deal with Terramander, I've got a backup threat. So this should seal the deal, I think. Colossus is another messed up card. Colossus and Ill-Gotten Inheritance, just on Arena, they come up so frequently. It's so tilting to play against them. Like, if you draft in an 8-man, you're not playing against 7 opponents who all had individual drafts full of, whatchamacallits. Alright, Humongous plus... Well, we don't know that our opponent has bounce spells here. Code of Constraint, again, is pretty good against Death Brand. Let's consider it, for sure. I don't want these walls. And we saw 1 Ill-Gotten Inheritance. Is that enough to bring in Exposed to Daylight? Not yet, especially being up a game. Again, I think... what did I took out Colossus last time. And on the draw, I think I'm going to do the same thing. Which means I can cut Orzhov Guildgate for Plains, which I didn't do last time. And then... I am going to bring out probably just High Alert again. Yeah. Alright. More interaction with the opponent since they're playing aggressive deck. See if we can get there for game 2. See you there. Alright, game 2. This hand is not great. Terramander, I don't expect to really get in there much. I might even trade it off for this stupid Footlight Fiend here. My opponent's still going to enable Spectacle, but they don't get to just free roll damage, and I expect Terramander to die anyway. Blade Brand, Footlight Fiend, a cycle. Nah. Opponent might be missing lands here if that's what their play was. Plus, again, we saw Terramander be relevant last game. If it comes down as a 5-5, my opponent's going to have trouble dealing with it. I assume Terramander will die before then. Our opponent's shown us Carnival and Skewer. Alright, let's go ahead and take this. See if we get smacked with a Blade Juggler. No, just a Trumpeter. Alright, we're probably going to admonition that, especially my opponent being stuck on lands, getting spells in our graveyard. Seems good for us. Get out of here, Trumpeter. Next turn, we've got Deploy at the ready, which is not great against Footlight Fiend. They can trade Footlight for the entire Deploy. Still seems like the opponent is missing a land here. Ooh, Essence Capture. Well, now I get to hold up potentially either or. I mean, yeah, my opponent... I could play Concordia Pegasus and hold up Essence Capture. Gig's going to be up since I tap this way. But what's my opponent going to do? Not cast their spells? I will put the counter on Concordia Pegasus if I get the chance to do so. Although that does make Terramander survive Footlight Fiend. Nah, that just doesn't really make sense to me. Alright, opponent's just running a spell into this obvious Essence Capture. Fair enough. There's 2 in the graveyard. We're gonna jam with both of our creatures and play a Night Arbiter here. Humongous is just a worse Night Arbiter. Harder to deal with, but worse. Opponent's getting Mana Screwed here, which makes for a little bit of an unfun game, but they did hit the land. No mountains, though. No mountains. Still not blocking Footlight Fiend. Could have Grotesque Demise here to deal with any of our creatures. Yep, they had the Blade Juggler, just missed the opportunity to play it on curve. Alright, Duelist is good. We're just going to go ahead and adapt Terramander and attack with everything, though. Opponent's taking 9 here. They have to deal with at least 2 of our creatures, since they can't block any of them. It'll be very hard for them to do that with just 3 or 4 mana. Unfortunate game for the opponent here. Did happen to us in game 1 of the last match, but we get to steal another game from Rakdos. Feels good. I do think our deck is pretty well positioned against Rakdos. And that's going to put us at the good old 2-0. Nice start from Azorius. Let's see if we can keep it rolling. See you in match 3. 3 with the good old Terramander, nothing. Drawing something in between now and then would be nice. Terramander really showed its true colors last game. It's another red deck, wow. Alright, Sky Tether's fine if our opponent plays something interactive here. Let's see if our opponent also has the Carnival. They do not. Sky Tether, basically any 2-drop my opponent has. Ooh, never mind, it's Gruul. Zertog Goblin. Let's see if they give it haste. Hope they put a counter on it. Usually right to just put a counter on it, but some people like to get in the damage while they know they can. Also get to bluff Essence Capture here, even though I don't have it. So, not bad. Sphinx's Insight into Arbiter seems good, assuming we draw our 5th land. Feral Maca, not the strongest play. Let's go ahead and jam for 1. Never blocking. And then play Sphinx's Insight. Alright, well, Guildgate. We do have our 5th land already. Anyway, Minister of Obligation, decent blocker if it comes down to that. We are going to start just playing Arbiters here, I think. Rakdos Guildgate, interesting. Opponent didn't have a 3-drop last turn, and I think they drew Guildgate. Otherwise, they would have played the Guildgate plus the Maca last turn. Nope, that's not right. Let's go ahead and attack for 1. Terramander's done 4 damage so far. And we're going to go ahead and start playing some Night Arbiters. Green-red doesn't have a lot of good answers to these. They could always Savage Smash them with a big creature, or use some combat tricks. I'm just not blocking Feral Maca. We also don't know what the black is for at the moment. I'm going to guess it's Ill-Gotten Inheritance, because that's what everybody seems to want to play. Huh, maybe they're... I mean, this could just be for gates, too. Like, they could just have Gatebreaker Ram. Carnage again. Alright, not too worried about that. I'm going to go ahead and discard this tapped Plains, and probably just Ministrant. Oh, I wonder if I could have discarded Summary Judgment there. Nah, I would have had to draw a basic land, but if I discarded Judgment there and then drew a land, I'd be able to adapt Terramander this turn. Surprised they didn't go for the kill on Terramander. Guess they're not too worried about it. 3 very similar decks. It does look like they might be Rakdos splashing green, and they just got a little bit lucky. Maybe not. I don't know. This is more likely of a splash than the Goblin. If I had to put my finger down on it, I'm saying Gruul, splashing black. I'm never blocking this because of Gift of Strength, Blade Brand, lots of ways to punish me, and I'm just dealing way more damage to my opponent than they are dealing to me. Trumpeter. Okay. Trumpeter's good. Next turn we get to play Pegasus into Judgment. Ooh, and Fairy Duelist. So now I get to block the Maca and then use Fairy Duelist as a way to shrink whatever trick they have. If they have Blade Brand, they'll have a 0-power creature. And if they have Gift of Strength, then we get to get them with that too. They're dying pretty slowly here as well. Alright, I'm going to run out Pegasus, and then Duelist. Probably run out Duelist end of turn anyway, regardless. I don't think I'm in any danger of dying. We haven't seen any big creatures yet. Alright, opponent just has nothing going on in hand. 3 cards in hand, 6 mana. And they played nothing but 2-drops. Interesting. Admonition seems a little bit worse against opponents who have Riot creatures, but I do like the Code of Constraint. And again, Humongulus matches up well against all their creatures. These red decks are the decks where Humongulus shines at its best. I kind of still like the Colossus here because my opponent doesn't seem all in aggro, but I'm going to cut the High Alert again on the draw. And it's hard to make cuts. Maybe the Sentinels mark. But even that matches up well and helps us climb back into a game we're losing with the Azorius Knight Arbiter. Maybe it's just a Pegasus. Pegasus doesn't really block the Goblin, doesn't block Rakdos Trumpeter very well. Alright. Bye-bye, Pegasus. Especially if we're taking out High Alert. I know I said High Alert was like the one card I really wanted, and I keep boarding it out, but that's because I'm against decks where I don't expect it to be that great. Anyway, see you in Game 2. Alright, the no gates into Colossus is a little bit awkward. This hand is slow, but Summary Judgment helps us fend off some really early aggression. Alright, I feel like we're against like a Jun Gates deck of some sort. Don't think I'm cycling Depose either. See what the opponent has to follow up with on turn 2. Territorial Boar, okay. Alright, that's a good 3-drop. I don't think I'm going to use my Summary Judgment on a Territorial Boar, especially since I can just blanket with this Forbidding Spirit. Pseudo blanket. Alright. And what's your follow-up on this turn? Do you have a land? They might not have the third land. Okay, they do. They're just figuring out which land to play, it seems. Still don't think I'm going to use Summary Judgment here. I'm going to play the Forbidding Spirit, and it's very unlikely my opponent's going to be able to hit me next turn. Seems better than Gateway Sneak here. I would ideally like to get Gateway Sneak down on a turn where I can go like Sneak plus a 2-drop or something like that, which might not be able to do. Looks like Forbidden Spirit's going to hit the dust here. They could have played that a little bit better. They could have paid 2 to attack with the Trumpeter. I think it's just sneak time. Yeah, they could have paid 2, attacked with the Trumpeter. I couldn't have blocked it, dealt 1, and then skewered for 1. So they could have gotten into damage last turn. Alright, all skewers all day. I can just play Knight Arbiter, I feel fine. Not under too much pressure. Alright, looks like it's going to be a Depose Deploy turn. Could also Summary Judgment. Don't really love that. I would like to start deploying my threats before my opponent plays anything really big, but it seems like they're on a lot of little aggro creatures, and I would expect Gatebreaker Ram based on what I'm seeing here. I use Deploy here. I think I'm just going to Summary Judgment this Trumpeter. A, because they can pump it, deal more damage. B, it has Menace, so even once I start playing the Arbiter, they get to free roll some more damage in there. Not 100% sure that's correct, but we'll do it. Alright, my turn. Land. Alright, Fairy Duelist is pretty good here. Unfortunately, still no real play. Could trade Deploy for this Boar. Opponent seems like they're on a lot of removal if they didn't play anything last turn. Just get down Duelist, shrink it this turn. Try and bait my opponent into using removal on the Fairy Duelist. Alright, Axebane Beast is fine. Plus land. Alright, 1 card left from the opponent. There we go. Arbiter's coming down. Arbiters block everything and they deal damage. It's like my own personal ill-gotten inheritance. It deals damage to the opponent while technically making sure I don't lose life. Opponent's flooding a little bit. If we see an attack with Axebane Beast, we're going to suspect some gnarly nonsense. Now I feel fine just jamming into my opponent here. Duelist probably wasn't blocking anyway. And Arbiter number 2. And pass. Opponent's going to have to play some really big creatures to get through. Spellbreaker, huh? Doesn't quite do it. So this thing's hexproof during their turn. Alright, Guildgate's decent. It makes our Gate Colossus come down with just 1 more mana. Gate Colossus is virtually impossible for them to kill, outside of some super multi-blocking nonsense. So, I guess we can't deploy plus Terramander, but we can just Terramander and then next turn adapt. Is that right? We could deploy or depose. I think I'm just going to cast Deploy here. Don't think the last card my opponent had in hand was anything super relevant. Alright, opponent's got some good rares going on. Thankfully, none of them get through a 2-5. It's another match where Humongulus is coming in. Well, I guess we already won match 1, but... I do think we're just going to sweep this pretty quickly. My opponent's already on a 3. I guess 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're on a 2-turn clock now. And let's just go ahead and make that even worse for them. They do have 2 creatures that can block Colossus, but it doesn't matter. They have to deal with Colossus and now deal with everything else. Okie doke. Well, our opponent flooded out there. I don't know if that was so much us playing like a succinct control deck as it was just our opponent not having too many super strong spells. Tendershoot Dryad. Oh, wow. Look at busted rares. Anyway, that puts us at 3-0. Very nice so far. Let's see if Azorius can go ahead and make it all the way to 5. We've already broken even, which is more than Simic can say. But yeah, keep playing control. See you in match 4. This is match 4. We get to go Pegasus into Sneak, and we get to sandbag a gate for our Sneak. This would be a good high alert hand. Ooh, the Twilight Panther, so we're probably against just straight up Orzhov here. Double gates, huh? Well, that means I expect my Gateway Sneak to die. To probably just Grotesque Demise. Hey, they don't have to have it though, right? Little Death Touchers are annoying here. But Fairy Duelist will be pretty good. Alright, all the Death Touchers. Night Arbiter coming down. Let's get sneaky. And we're not blocking, so opponent's going to get all of the turn 3 Blade Jugglers they want. I think this is part of the reason Gruul and Simic take a big hit in this format, is because, ooh, if they leave a creature back to block my Sneak, that's great, because I'm just going to make it unblockable anyway. Nice. So that means they don't have an answer to the Sneak they're trying to play right now. Very nice. And we're probably going to use Arrester's Admonition depending on what we draw here. But yeah, Gruul and Simic have a tough time dealing with all the Death Touchers. There's these two plus Noxious Gurdion. Oh, you're going to use a Final Payment? Summary Judgment. That's a little bit more annoying. I think I'm fine with it, though. Why'd they leave back a creature, then? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, yeah, I guess they would have had to give it Death Touch if I blocked. That's fine. Deal 1. Let's just use our Admonition here. Alright, we are going to need to draw some more spells, though. Arbiter by itself is not going to do the trick. Especially if our opponent starts casting Grasping Thralls, which they will, because they're Orzhov, why wouldn't they? Syndicate Messenger, fine. Ooh, Sentinel's Mark. Alright, let's go and get down our Arbiter. See if that lives. If it does, probably just Sentinel's Mark it. If it doesn't, then, well, that's trouble. Would love to draw some counter spells here. And by some counter spells, I mean Quench, I guess. Another Messenger. Messenger of our own. Alright, so we're going to go Messenger plus Sentinel's Mark here. This just kind of swaps life totals, really. High Alert would be one of our best draws at this moment. I guess Gate Colossus would also be really good, since, you know, we can cast it. As it is, we're looking 5 cards from our opponent to nothing here, so we've really got to get there and hope they can't kill our Night Arbiter. Twilight Panther still getting in there, huh? Not trading with a Syndicate Messenger. Is this a Grasp and Thrill turn? Wouldn't mind drawing another Arbiter. Again, I wouldn't mind drawing a Counterspell here either. Essence Capture would be pretty good. High Alert would be pretty dope. Gate Colossus. Anything but lands here. This is a type of matchup where I probably want, like, Prying Eyes. Alright, what you got, opponent? I can probably rule out Grotesque Demise, otherwise they would just slam it on Arbiter. Basically, any removal that deals with Arbiter. Oh, they're just going to hardcast Angel of Grace? Okay. That's not the right time to... Oh, I guess they're playing around Counterspell, sure. I think I'm going to just lose to that now. It's not 100% over, but it does race us faster than my Night Arbiter does. 6. Deploy would be a nice one. Yeah, I think my opponent ran that out main phase so that it could get around a counterspell. Yeah, I don't think I've drawn enough spells to keep up here. So we'll go to the next game. I'm all about conceding games that you know you're going to lose in. I don't think I have too many draws that get me out of it there. The Grasp and Throw is really the cake there. It just means I have to spend a whole nother turn to deal with them. Against Flyers. Admonition seems better here. Portal? Nah, Portal doesn't seem that good. Code of Constraint's pretty good against the Death Touchers. What do we not want? What do we not want? High Alert seems good against this opponent. Most of my deck actually seems good against them. Pegasus does not match up well, basically against anything. Sky Tether is decent. I guess I don't need a third Arrester's Admonition on top of Code of Constraint. And I like most of the rest of the deck here. I like the Prying Eyes. In a slower matchup like this, we've just got to be prepared for our opponent's big creatures like the Angel. What are we taking out? What are we taking out? Could see it being just one of these like dorky 3-drops. Maybe the High Alert, but I like the High Alert here. Just to clock our opponent with some of our big flyers. We didn't see any removal from them. Not that they don't have any removal, but we didn't see any of it. A little confused what to bring out here. I guess we'll just bring out the High Alert. Alright. Guess we're not a High Alert deck? I don't know. Anyway, see you in game 2. Alright, going first here. Slow hand. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have a 1-drop. They are mulliganing. The Zonk Master X is mulling. And Twilight Panther would be an annoying 1-drop for them to have, but we've got the Quench for something else. Alright, I just want to see spells basically the rest of this game now. Not even sure I Quench a 2-drop here. Yeah, we'll Quench that. It's a little annoying. I don't know if that's right, though, with the Syndicate Messenger and the code. We just blank it so quickly. Alright, that's a spell, not one we're casting for a while, though. Could be a decider in this game. Walk it? Okay. See a 5-drop pretty early on from our opponent. Yep, got a Grasp and Throw, sure. And we're going to run out Guildgate. We can play Colossus next turn. It's not negligible. I think I'm going to hold up Summary Judgment here. I do not need that stop. I'm going to go for the Judgment, see if they have a way to save this Thrall. They do not. Might just have another Thrall, though. When it rains, it pours. Yeah, another Thrall. Alright, let's just play Colossus. Draw another land, we can go Terramander plus Adapt. Alright, 3 cards in hand from the opponent. Colossus is a 3-turn clock. Sure. Every time I play Colossus, my opponent has the answer. Every time. So I think we just go Arbiter plus Terramander here. We are losing this game pretty quickly. We're going to be down to 8 life. I could hold up a double block here. But I think I'm just going to adapt Terramander next turn. I hope my opponent doesn't have yet another answer on their Mold of 5. It's been a pretty good, or it was a Mold of 6. Been pretty good, though. Just all these Grasping Thralls, difficult to deal with. Alright, what you doing, opponent? Clicking all over the place, kind of weird. You got it, you got it. I'm down to 8. Opponent still has 3 cards in hand somehow. Ooh, okay, I like them being lands. My opponent doing math, or are they just trying to psych me out there? Alright, that's... You can stop that now. Play the game, please. Play the game. Stop that. Lumber and Battlement. Okay. They're going to exile their Thrall? Huh. That's pretty good. So... if I kill Lumber and Battlement... Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to adapt. I could be really risky and just attack, like, take the hit for 6. But if they play another Grasp and Throw, I'm dead. And if I take that hit, I can basically just never hit him again. So let's go ahead and attack with everything and block with Syndicate Messenger. Just try to kill our opponent before this battlement becomes too big of a problem. We can keep it locked down with the code. Kind of need all of our creatures to survive, though. Lumber and Battlement. Not a card I've ever actually played, but I've found it to be pretty nice. Yeah, I don't think I should go down to 2 here when my opponent has the Grasp and Throw underneath the Lumber and Battlement. This is a pretty safe block as well. Another Locket, sure. Might win this yet. Ooh, there we go. Perfect. That's like the one thing you don't want to hit, a Lumber and Battlement. Granted, that means if they have ways to sacrifice it, it's going to be really good. And I can wait on that, I believe. They are dead next turn anyway. They also already have to deal with our creatures. Final payment would kind of suck. Alright, cracking the Locket is pretty nice. Means they're definitely not going to hard cast another Thrall this turn or anything like that. Okay. Let's go ahead and Binding your Battlement. LB on your LB. They didn't final payment in response. Not that they would have to use it there in response. Alright, I think that's game because we can just Code of Constraint. Yeah, alright, so let's go ahead and tap down your Syndicate Messenger. Attack for lethal. Good, good, good. Like it. We get to go to a game 3 here. Give our opponent the GG since they gave us the GG. Yeah, opponent's deck seems decent though. So it's going to be a little bit of a back and forth struggle, I think. This is the type of matchup where I'd bring in more removal if I had it. But our removal is in the form of like Arrester's Admonitions, which are not really where we want to be, right? Against a bunch of Grasping Thralls. Could see bringing in this final payment. But we have just the one Orjov Guildgate. And my opponent's going to be pressuring our life total just enough that I don't want to do something super dirtily like Screamin' Shield. High Alert on the draw is not really where I want to be either, so I think we're just going to stick with what we have. I haven't seen anything that wants me to have a third Arrester's Admonition. But let's try it out. See you in Game 3. Alright, looks like we're going to take our first mulligan of this video. That's just not a very keepable hand. This is a little bit better. Quench will hopefully keep for something a little later on. Do I want this Gateway Sneak? Probably, right? Seems fine. Not really going to get in there, is it? But it's going to be fine, I think. Turn 2, probably just play Pegasus. There's not a lot of 3-drops we're worried about our opponent playing. Oligarch, not great against Concordia Pegasus. Wouldn't mind drawing a gate here so we know our Sneak could get in there. And I would ideally like to keep Quench up for our opponent's 5-drops. If they play a Locket this turn, though, I've got to consider whether I'm playing Sneak or holding up Quench. Because an early Grasp and Throw could be a problem. Basically auto block here if they attack. I mean, what could they even have? If they use a trick here, I'm fine with that. I've got a Fairy Duelist. Oh, Sentinel's Mark. Okay. Well, that punishes us a decent amount, actually. That being said, it's not too bad. Like, they traded a trick for a Concordia Pegasus. They didn't get the lifelink off of it either. Let's see if they have the answer for our Gateway Sneak again, though. Oh, Bellhaunt, come on. Don't do all that. Discard our island. Stop playing good cards. Guildgate, attack for 3, and then we're going to Binding Bellhaunt. Because we're already incentivized to... Ooh, Colossus. Yeah, we're going to bind in the Bellhaunt because if they have a way to sacrifice a creature, they're going to want to go ahead and do it on the Oligarch. That being said, I think I'm going to take the hit here and try to quench whatever this nonsense is coming off of their 5-drop. Because I just don't think I'm going to beat a Grasp and Throw right now. Opponent's got an extremely good start here, and we let him 2-for-1 us. There we go. Arrester's Admonition is good against Oligarch right now, but it's not generally amazing. I am going to bounce the Oligarch, though. You know, basically saying I'm going to take another 3, but this also lets us get a hit in with the Sneak. Drawing a land would be amazing. So we can hold up Wall Mage's Binding plus Fairy Duelist. We did not. Double Fairy Duelist does something, but we don't have another blue. And we're probably going to have to start sitting back with our Gateway Sneak now. Alright, Locket's fine. Does represent more cards later on, but it's fine. And are we going to see Oligarch or their other card? Oligarch. Oh, double Oligarch. Alright. Ministrant of Obligations, decent here. This is a little bit of an annoying draw. Am I holding up Fairy Duelist? What am I doing here? Playing Ministrant. I think it's correct to play a 3-drop. And the reason is if I draw more lands, I can go 3+1. But I won't be able to go 3+3. Alright, so they're top decking, but they've got the Locket as well. If they attack with the Bellhaunt, I'm blocking with the Ministrant. And I'm pretty far behind here, especially at 8 life. Opponent says attack with everything. Doing the math. I'm definitely going to block with Ministrant here, I believe. No attacks at all? Oh, that seems weird. Okay, opponent. They could force in 2 damage here. Okay, my opponent's doing the thing again. They're doing the thing. Come on, opponent. Play the game, please. I'm trying to play my game too, you know. They did not attack. Wow, we get to freebie some damage here. All right, and we drew the land, but we didn't draw another blue source, so I think it's just Forbidding Spirit plus a Fairy Duelist this turn. And I think that's going to be pretty good. Opponent can't just jam a bunch of mana into us. Like, they can't swing all out without using their entire turn. In fact, one of these creatures can't even attack this turn. And we've got some decent blocks set up here. Grasp and Throw is good. It's going to be a tough one for us to beat. I guess we have Wall Mage's Bind in, but we can't beat a bunch of Grasp and Thralls. Doesn't mean there's no attack this turn, though. Am I supposed to run out one Fairy Duelist? I think I am. Just as an additional blocker. Seems kind of weird, but if I draw... I don't know. I think it's right to do that. God, that's gross, too. Alright, we're going to Wall Mage's Bind in their... Grasp and Throw here, and then just hope they're on no more big flyers. Would like if some amount of their cards were not good, or if some number of their 3 cards are lands, then maybe we can win this. Grotesque Demise that, sure. Takes away my chump block. Alright, let's go ahead and Binding their Thrall. And it looks like we're going to see an attack with multiple creatures here. Alright, attack with everything. So this seems like an easy block here, and then I go for the double block on Bellhaunt. Take 3 down to 3. Not playing around any tricks at this point. And I get to keep up another Fairy Duelist. Hopefully they don't have like Dead Revels or some nonsense. This isn't great. Okay, well, we can play Colossus. And we've got blockers for everything but the Orzhov Enforcer. So let's live through this turn. Let's live through this turn. No more stupid whatchamacallits. No more Thralls. Straight to combat I like. Am I supposed to block the Enforcer here? If I go down to 2, I'm just dead to a Thrall off the top. And our opponent's shown that they have at least 2 Thralls in their deck. One is dead and one's on board. God. My opponent might be doing some really janky math here, but it looks like they're just being annoying for the sake of being annoying. I could block Gate Colossus on this Enforcer. Not going to do that, though. I think I'm just going to block here. No, let's just block with the Colossus. I don't think I'm suspecting Blade Brand here. And I'm heavily debating going Colossus block Enforcer. But I think this is fine. Next turn I have the Fairy Duelist to shrink this thing. I do die if they just play another Grasp and Throw. Syndicate Messenger does not kill me, however. Alright. Not enough blue to win this game, unfortunately. Get in there with Colossus. And then next turn I'm going to go Duelist, shrink the Messenger, kill off these 2 flying tokens, take 1 from Enforcer. Is that the goal? They're going to attack with everything, I assume. I still feel like I'm going to lose this game, but I'm not 100% sure. Could use some Arrester's Admonitions. I still only have 1 blue mana anyway. So this has me going down to 1. Alright, what you got, opponent? Land into battlement. Remember, I cannot kill this battlement, otherwise I die. Which means I can't attack with Gate Colossus either. Blue mana, sure. Alright. This is a bad position to be in because I've got to chump Syndicate Messenger, chump Battlement. I mean, the game's not 100% over, but it feels pretty over. Yeah, if I attack with Gate Colossus, they block with Battlement. This is pretty bad for me. Could draw Sky Tether here and then just blank the Battlement, and that would make it a lot better, but I'm still chumping Syndicate Messenger as well. I've got to chump Orzhov Enforcer. They should attack with everything. I have to chump all 3 creatures. So, best blocks here. If I could gain life, I wouldn't mind killing this thing. So I have to block here. Gateway Sneak's not going to do it. And then I guess Colossus goes on Enforcer. Maybe not, because I have to. I've got to block it anyway. Alright, now they've got 2 Spirit tokens. Yeah, I think we're taking an L on this one. I just can't let any of their creatures through, and I don't have enough cards to get in there. Maybe if I had earlier in the game drawn more blue sources and then gotten to get in there with our duelist. And I can't kill the stupid battlement, which is a problem. Go and adapt and pass the turn. Again, not dead here. Removal spell kills us. I mean, a lot of things kill us. But we could just draw the Sky Tether for the battlement, and our opponent could have nothing in their 3 cards. Opponent's deck's pretty good. Just a lot of good cards. Wish I hadn't gotten got by the Sentinel's Mark, but I don't think having a Pegasus Courser would have changed things. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not cool. The game is not 100% over yet. Oh, actually it is, isn't it? Because I have to block all of their creatures. I'm not going to give the good game to somebody who prematurely gave the good game. I do not like when people do that. But, I mean, it was a good game. I just hate when people are like, oh, I win. I'll just do this. It's like, okay. You got it. Man, Battlement was pretty good there. Unfortunately, couldn't keep up pressure early enough. That being said, that's going to put us at 3-1, so we're still at 3 wins. We've got a couple more matches potentially here. We did take our first loss, but we're going to go to Game 5 and see if we can redeem ourselves. See you there. All right, match 5. We're at 3-1. Another mulligan, unfortunately. Ugh. Essence Capture, of course, would be in this hand. Colossus to the bottom. This is not a winning hand. If it draws lands, we've got a good curve, but these aren't game-winning creatures. Yeah, run out Pegasus here. I think we had a good last game, but just pressure wasn't quite enough for the opponent here. Or for the opponent. Yeah, I don't know. I guess if I play Guildgate this turn, I give myself the option of maybe having Essence Capture next turn. But also can play my 4-drop, and Forbidding Spirit doesn't do too much on this board. Against Teamer Death Touchers, kind of annoying. Another Guildgate, so I'm just going to run out the Guildgate and play Forbidding Spirit, and if they pay mana to attack with Grudion, I'll trade off. In fact, I think this is a pretty clear attack with a Pegasus here, because if they pay for both of them, then sure, I'll take 2 and still trade off with the Grudion. And if not, we'll just attack. Opponent's going to go for the creature instead. I am going to run out my Syndicate Messenger. Hope my opponent doesn't have a Thrall. They're playing Esper. Sure. Messenger it is. And we will pass the turn. I've gone 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop. My opponent has gone 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop. Question is, do they have the Thrall? Twilight Panther. Okay, that's not the best five mana play. It's an annoying creature, but it's not amazing or anything. See if they want to go ahead and jam this Griffin here. This feels like that addendum card. I'm going to block like this. This is how I'd block if I didn't suspect too much from the opponent. If they have the fairy, then they can save Noxious Grudion. Sentinel's Mark would be decent as well. So we do trade. They get a Spirit and keep my Pegasus around. Seems like a fine exchange for me. See what they follow up with. Gateway Sneak, sure. It's probably Sky Tethered Gateway Sneak, right? That's, a good way to lose this game. Alright, let's just tether Gateway Sneak and pass. Represent a blocker for Syndicate Messenger and still have Essence Capture up here. They can get in with Twilight Panther. There's some argument for Sky Tether in the Senate Griffin, so I can start attacking. I think I put a counter on Concordia Pegasus. Messenger, actually, yeah. Reason being, if I put a counter on Messenger, it attacks through the Griffin, but then my Concordia Pegasus can't block it. So I'm just trading 3 damage for 3. Alright, we need some spells to back up these plays, though. I'm going to attack with Pegasus. And just pass turn. Not going to play my land here. Drawing something like Deploy would be nice. Obviously, drawing Gate Colossus would be great. If they attack with Senate Griffin, I'm going to block. Attack with the Spirit as well. What does that mean? Feels like a Fairy Duelist. I'm going to try to eat this Spirit here. That way, if they do have Fairy Duelist or something that just shrinks my creature like Slimebind, I'm not losing it. I get to eat the Spirit here. Oh, Dead Revels, really? Splash in Dead Revels? Okay. Alright, Sphinx's Insight was a good draw. Assuming we draw into something else. Okay. Well, that's how you lose games. Your opponent plays 2 for 1s and you play 0 for 1s. Which is basically what that is. Night Arbiter is going to be a problem. Grudion can also attack into me. This turn, if they go ahead and attack with the Griffin, I will trade the Messenger. Equal life totals. I guess High Alert would be really good here as well, since it would kind of grow both my creatures and also make it so I can untap them. Maybe that's a reason to be playing out all my lands, as High Alert has an activated ability, which is useful. Well, Mage's Binding on Messenger to get in damage here into Grudion? That seems wrong. We're just... This isn't attacking anyway. Alright, Admonition. I can Admonition my Messenger, or I could Admonition one of their creatures. I think we're just going to Admonition my Messenger. Drew into garbage. And I'm going to pass without attacking here, which isn't good because the Death Touchers can still attack into me, plus they get to play their Arbiter this turn. I am falling behind here. That being said, I've drawn a ton of lands. 10 total to my opponent's 6. Twilight Panther is going to poke. Surprised no attack with Grudion there. Alright, Quench is a little bit too late to be super relevant in this game. I still don't think I can attack. I gotta find an answer for Arbiter here. And Quench is probably going to be just bad now as well. This game has not gone in our favor. Has not. Sure. Alright, let's just go to the next game. We're really dead there. Unbreakable formation. They did have it. Wasn't playing around that, or we were playing around that earlier, but I think they just drew that earlier. Justiciar's Portal is pretty good against the Wall Mage's Binding, but not too good otherwise. Code of Constraint against the Death Touchers again. I like that. Arrester's Admonition against the big vanillas that don't have ETB effects. And then I kind of want Prying Eyes again here. What do I not want? I like the Colossus. Again, let's just cut High Alert. Cut a Pegasus. Pegasus has just been so bad. I think we need to draw a little bit better and have a good opening hand. And I keep bringing in the Arrester's Admonition, but it's just a consideration. Let's run it back and see if we can snag game 2 here. In a row that we've had double of one color and just nothing really to do with it. I don't think we keep that hand. We could try to get lucky, and we're going to mull this too. All right, well, sure. This is a little sad after going 3-0 and then having 2 matches in a row where you just draw garbage hands. Against an attrition deck, I just can't afford to mull to 5. Like, we're not going to be able to cast any spells. We're going to Essence Capture something, and they're going to play something else, and we're just going to die. Twilight Panther, I'm not going to use Essence Capture on that. Like, what do I need to for this hand to work? I need to draw a bunch of planes and spells. Like, if I draw Plains Night Arbiter, then maybe we have something here. Or Plains Deploy. Opponent's shown as Dead Revel, so they have, like, card advantage here. Also draw the perfect mana. Which is, you know, going to happen with them having Guild Gates in their deck, but it's a little annoying. The sadness, it's coming on. I can feel it. Keep it up counter magic. Did draw Plains, so we get to hold up Deploy here. Can't rule out counter magic from the opponent. They didn't do anything on 3. They might be playing around counter magic of ours. Ours, I should say. Take our 1. Probably cast Deploy end of turn here. Just to get something on board. Undercity Scavenger. We have a Sky Tether for that, so I'm okay. Let's let them resolve this. They're probably going to sack the Panther, which would be nice. They don't have to, though. They could just play 4-mana 3/3. Okay, they did. So we're going to untap and probably go Sky Tether, hold up Essence Capture. It seems nice. Get to almost freebie kill our opponent's creature here. We didn't do any work. And we get to stay at 20. They did scry 1 card to the bottom there. Ministrant is decent here. Actually, I'm going to go Ministrant plus hold up Essence Capture here. Just use my mana a little bit better. Probably block with Ministrant. Gets us 4 power on board. Don't love the chump block, of course, but this gets us more flying pressure against the opponent. Assuming we get to Essence Capture, we have 5 power, and we get to blank our opponent's Scavenger. Alright, let's go ahead and counter this Grudion. Opponent doesn't have any counter mana up. Doesn't really matter what we put the counter on either. Alright, well, just like that, we've got a bunch of power on board. Let's go ahead and Sky Tether your boy. I mean, if they play like a Syndicate Messenger, then my power on board doesn't matter, but Ethereal Absolution, wreck your board, Mortify. Oh, Mortify the Sky Tether, sure. I am ahead in the race right now, though, so let's see if they can play a flyer as well. Drawing things like Fairy Duelist would be good here. Arrester's Admonition would be really good. Guildgate, not so much. Running into some sort of flash spell. I am going to hold this Guildgate for right now. Alright, we're down to 10. No flyer, no flyer. Spirit of the Spire is gross. Come on deck. This is our opening to draw something, bounce the Spires, and then get in there. Unfortunately, now we're in chump mode against whatchamacallit, and they've got 4 cards in hand. Well, I think we had an out there on our mull to 5, and now I think we're going to lose. I'm going to chump. I could put all my creatures in front of it. That seems bad. I've got nothing else in hand. I really needed this to just be a spell. Something interactive. Like anything. Literally, now my opponent's going to get to start putting more pressure on board than we can keep up with, and we lose from there. Night Arbiter, sure. Okay, Admonition's a good draw. What do we do with it? We can Admonition here, deal 4 to the opponent. Opponent has 7 back on us. Might be able to draw Admonition into Counterspell or something like that. I think we go for the win rather than playing super defensive. Jesus. Alright. If they just play another flyer and that's it, then maybe we draw another draw spell and kill them. Playing to our outs there. If they play like 2 flyers, then it's not going to do it. I guess they could also kill this, and then we just don't even have close to lethal. I mean, we have close to lethal, but not close enough. Ugh. Oh, of course. Of course, you had a Grasp and Throw. Why did that take so long for my opponent to decide? Alright, well, we can live, right? Chump. Fairy Duelist this. Chump. I am a sad panda right now because these last 2 games have been decided by mulligans. Just imagine if I had this draw but 2 more spells this game. I think it would have been pretty clear we win. Opponent decides not to send with the Thrall. See, they have a counter spell for the Duelist. Dang, I really liked our deck, but our opening hands have not been kind to us. Okay, we just block this thing. Pass, and we have to draw, like, I don't know, near perfectly. Code of Constraint into a way to deal with Arbiter. Sure. And they're going to double spell here. I don't think we have any realistic draws. I mean, that, I guess, is a realistic draw. They decide to keep up mana 2 instead of playing the Spirit of the Spire, so they've got something that they can interact with us with. Wow. Okay. Wow, Mold of 5 into Flood Out. That's like the worst you can the worst you can have. I think we could have beat both the rounds we lost to, and unfortunately, just like that, by force comes to an end. We've still got the Gate deck, though. I mean, I was pretty happy with the Azorius deck. It just, those opening hands didn't do justice to us, and we ended up losing to, I would say, pretty equal decks. I don't think our opponent's decks were worse than ours, but I certainly don't think they were super superior or anything. Maybe the Orzhov deck we played in round 4 was better than ours. It did have a lot of Grasp and Throws and things like that, but that last deck, I feel like that was pretty equal, and we gave ourselves an opportunity to, you know, come back from a mold of 5. Unfortunately, we had a mold of 6 in the first game, and we got bested. So I guess to go ahead and close this out, we'll go ahead and open up the vault for everybody. Go ahead and see this nonsense nobody cares about. And then we will claim our prize, and we'll call it a day. Shaboom. 1,500 gems. 4. We did break even with Azorius, though, which is, you know, a fine place to be. Not amazing, but not terrible either. And I think that's okay. Would you like to see some pack openings? At this point, you can go and close the video. There will be no more gameplay. But let's see what we open. Whoa. Hey, that would have been pretty good in our deck. And whoa. Womburn Battlement. Again, I've never played with this card. There's a lot of rares in this set that I just haven't played with. But there's a lot of rares that I get them constantly, like Growth Chamber Guardian. Thrash Threat's another one. And our final card here. Boom, Brian Pool. All right, I'll take the shock. So, by force, Azorius. We're done with it. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you like by force. It's going to be a little interesting going into other sets with this because they're not based on guilds. As for guilds, or rather Ravnica Allegiance, we have one more set, or rather one more archetype to go, and that's the Gates deck, the deck I'm most excited to play. So, hopefully it works out for us. And until then, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Timothy with Manrocks. See you then.